Controversy today, the massive one over the government's telecom and phone tracking app called Sanchar Saathi. Now, recently, the Department of Telecom asked all phone manufacturers, Apple, Samsung, you name it, they have to mandatorily pre-install the Sanchar Saathi app, and it cannot be deleted once it is pre-installed. Now, this led to a huge backlash among the general public, amongst users, and also amongst opposition MPs in Parliament. The government today was forced to backtrack and issue a clarification. The Department of Telecom, the Press Information Bureau have all put out clarifications saying that A, this is not going to be mandatory, and that even if it comes pre-installed, then users can delete the Sanchar Saathi app if they do not want to keep it. But the question is, why ask for a pre-installation in the first place? Now, the opposition is alleging this is Pegasus 2.0, this is why the Big Brother wants to keep an eye on you, but the government has also been at pains to explain that the only thing the Sanchar Saathi tracks is your IMEI number, which is a 15-digit number that is unique to every single cell phone that's manufactured in the world. And it's through the IMEI number that you track a missing cell phone. In fact, the government has also gone to the extent of saying that about 7 lakh lost cell phones have been retrieved and given back to its original owners by way of tracking through the Sanchar Saathi app. But here's what triggered the entire controversy. I want to play out what exactly happened. There was initially a directive that was put out by the Department of Telecom in which it mentioned that all new mobile handsets that are manufactured or even imported from abroad to India for use will have to have the Sanchar Saathi app pre-installed. They have to be readily accessible at the first use or at the first device setup. However, Union Telecom Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia had to clarify today outside Parliament that the app will be optional for citizens. It's not going to be mandatory. Users can choose whether they want to go and download the app. The initial directive also mentioned that the app's functionalities could not be disabled or restricted, which means, and the specific wording cannot be disabled or cannot be restricted, that specific wording led to the interpretation that the app would be permanent on your phone. You cannot delete it, you cannot uninstall it. It will be like a system app on most of your iOS or Android phones, system apps that you cannot delete from your phone. The government earlier today clarified that users can delete the app if they want to, just like they would with any other app on your phone.
अगर आप चाहते हो तो इसको आप एक्टिवेट करो, अगर आप नहीं चाहते तो इसे एक्टिवेट मत करो। सुनिए ना, अगर आप इसको अपने फोन पे रखना चाहते हो तो रखो, अगर आप इसको डिलीट करना चाहते हो तो डिलीट करो। ये कस्टमर प्रोटेक्शन की बात है और हर भ्रम को मैं तोड़ने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं। आपको डिलीट करना है तो आप डिलीट कर दोगे आप, पर हर व्यक्ति को देश में नहीं मालूम कि मुझे फ्रॉड से प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए, मुझे चोरी से प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए ये ऐप है, तो हर व्यक्ति तक ये ऐप पहुंचाना हमारी जिम्मेदारी है।
Now, many in the government are arguing that the benefits of this app go way beyond just tracking lost phones, particularly because there are cases when national security concerns have collided with the misuse of phones. The recent Delhi Red Fort blast, for example, just outside the Red Fort, one of the accused in that case, Dr. Shaheen, obtained a SIM card in 2023 using a fake address of a mosque while she was living at the Al Falah University hostel campus. Now, this app can allow users to see if their details, if your name is being wrongly used by somebody else to purchase a SIM card, then this app will alert you to that. There's the investigation by the Counterintelligence Department of the Kashmir Police also revealed that there was misuse of SIM cards by terror operatives across Jammu and Kashmir. In 2023, a pro-Khalistan group sent out bulk WhatsApp messages and audio clips threatening to storm a stadium in Motera and disrupt the India-Australia cricket match. It was found that a SIM box, something that can be reported via this app, was what was used. Also, Gurpantwant Singh Pannu, the SFJ operative, he has claimed that threat calls were made using banned service providers, something that again can be reported via this app. And in 2019, Adil Dar, the Jaish-e-Mohammed bomber behind the Pulwama attack, again reportedly used a virtual SIM, an eSIM, generated by a service provider in the United States. The app can be used to report all of this.
Now, about the Sanchar Saathi specifically, Sanchar Saathi is an intrusion into the privacy of every Indian. With the installation of this app, the government wants to keep track of every Indian citizen, and right to privacy is guaranteed under Article 21 of the Constitution.
They couldn't secure parliament when those guys came and jumped off the balcony with gas or whatever in their shoes. So let's not go into that. This is only legalized snooping and a way to harass.
Anybody who values individual freedom and liberty will oppose this. No functioning democracy, no free society will allow this. This is like putting Pegasus on everybody's phone. The government will have access to your most intimate details.
All right, let's go for a straight face-off on this. Syed Zafar Islam is former Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament. Nasir Hussain, Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament, joining us. Mr. Nasir Hussain, let me start with you. The government is saying that, look, this is not mandatory. It doesn't need to be pre-installed. And even if it is, then you can delete the app. Users can choose to delete the app. And they're saying the only thing that this app does is track your IMEI number. It cannot read your messages. It cannot read your WhatsApp. It cannot trace your calls. All it can do is read your IMEI number, and thereby you can track your phone if you lose your phone.
Yeah, Zaka, first let me say that Sanchar Saathi originally positioned itself as a voluntary citizen-centric tool. Now they are converting it into a mandatory state-imposed digital sentinel. So what is happening now is, today they are coming out with clarification after all the uproar in the parliament by the parliamentarians. Even now there is no clarity whether every phone will be pre-installed or not. So the whole point is, now they say it will be pre-installed. First they said it is mandatory, now they say it is not mandatory. If somebody wants to switch off the app, they can switch off the app or they delete the app. First of all, in first place, why do you want to have it pre-installed? Let whoever, if it is not mandatory, if somebody wants to have this app, let them download that app. Why should it be pre-installed there? See, the whole idea behind this is, this government is not trustworthy. Government has this own track record of snooping into people's lives. They have been trying to control people's lives. They have been trying to interfering in people's lives. So the data can be easily collected when the app is installed in the phone. So and more than anything else, see, we are all not tech savvy. There are people who are tech savvy. There are people, especially older people, who are not tech savvy. So if you want to install something which affects the private life, which can lead to data accumulation by the government and so on and so forth, you need to have a scrutiny of this entire issue. You need to have it be discussed in the parliament.
Okay.
Let there be committee on that. We can have an experts in that. Let it be discussed. Then you can go ahead with it. All of a sudden, you just cannot announce something and say, okay, we are collecting lost phones. We are trying to trace people. So it's fine if there's something for the national security, if you want to do. But let there be a proper discussion in the parliament. Let it go to a joint parliamentary committee or a select committee. Let there be deeper discussion with technocrats involved in that, and then bring it to the parliament again, pass it, and you can go ahead with it.
So, Zafar Islam, the problem was that the Department of Telecom notification that came out in the last week of November suggested that this has to be mandatorily pre-installed by all cell phone manufacturers, the likes of Apple, Samsung, Xiaomi, etc. It has to be pre-installed, and that this app cannot be permanently deleted or uninstalled from your phone. That is what led to the confusion. And now today, the opposition is saying that the minister had to come in and clarify, because the initial notification said that it's going to be mandatorily pre-installed.
Well, Zaka, Congress and all the opposition parties have only one job to do, to mislead the nation, mislead the people, because they have no other agenda except misleading the people, because they feel because government is doing a great job and they find no fault in government's activities, so they find something, they try to find something to mislead the people, and this is something we think they will be able to mislead if some such information is propagated. But that is why the Honorable Minister Jyotiradittya Scindia ji has clarified every single thing, that all the information which is being misled, used to mislead the people, have been clarified by the Honorable Minister Saab, that everything what opposition is saying is factually incorrect. It's baseless. It is only with the intention to mislead the people and bring the government into the dock. See, as far as this app is concerned, app is not mandatory. It is something which you can delete, which you can, it is at your discretion where you want to keep it, not keep it. Something which has already been clarified the minister himself.
So where is the minister was forced to clarify, no, Zafar Bhai, because the telecom department came out with this notification.
No,
the Congress or TMC did not come out with this notification. The Department of Telecom came out with this notification.
See, actually, Zaka, for every single thing, they, as I said, they have nothing else except to mislead the people, and they're failing time and again because they failed in every such efforts. Because people know that this government is definitely pro-people, pro-country, and it is not the party and all this politics, they are above party, this kind of petty politics. That is why people have trust in this government, and that's why they come up with something which is for the people and to safeguard their interests. This particular app is only to safeguard the interests of the people and the consumer, and of course for the safety and security of the country.
So let
what
me
is the
ask
problem the opposition has? Whatever
Mr. Nasir Hussain, so if it is, as the minister has clarified, non-mandatory and you want to delete the app, you can go ahead and delete the app. And the only thing that this app does is report your IMEI number, which is a unique 15-digit number that every cell phone that is manufactured has, which enables you to track that phone, as in like if it is lost, you can find where that phone is, who is using that phone, etc. Then what's the problem? It cannot read your WhatsApp messages. It cannot check who you are calling. It cannot see what other apps you are using. So then why are you creating this scary situation, this doomsday kind of a situation? Oh, this is Pegasus 2.0. I think one of the opposition MPs said this is like Pegasus 2.0.
Zaka, the whole point is still nobody from the government, neither the spokesperson or the BJP here on your panel now is clarifying whether it is pre-installed or not. Why you want to pre-install something which a citizen doesn't want? The optionality of deleting it or not deleting it comes second. If somebody wants it, if somebody wants to have that app installed in their phone, give them the liberty of getting it installed later on. Why do you want to make it mandatory at the pre-installation level that they have to be pre-installed?
But Nasir Saab, a lot of apps come pre-installed. Nasir Saab, once again, if you have a Google phone, if you have an Android phone, all Google apps come pre-installed. Google Chrome, Gmail, all Google apps are pre-installed.
Can I just respond to this?
One second.
I think he has no clarity about it.
No, one second. Let Nasir Saab respond to that.
Nasir bhai, let me clarify you, Nasir bhai.
Let me allow. I didn't interrupt when you were speaking. Please. See. So then the whole point is, let there be a committee, let there be a discussion on this, let them give us technical clarification on all these things in the committee. For everything there is a committee. There is already a standing committee on telecommunications. IT, there is a standing committee. There can be a new select committee for this if they want it. Let it be clarified there and let us go ahead. We don't know whether they are snooping or not snooping, how much viable it is, not viable. Why are you running away from these processes which are time tested?
Forget about select committee or consultation paper or whatever. The manufacturing companies are saying even they have not been informed. They were not consulted.
Listen, first of all, if you heard the Honorable Minister, what did he say? It is the responsibility of the government to ensure that every single citizen must know that there is an app which ensures safety and security of their phone. So it is the responsibility of the government to ensure that everyone knows about it. As far as the individual user is concerned, they can choose to have it, use it, or discard it, delete it. So basically, government is giving you on the platter that this is this app which actually is for safety and security, and these are the benefits of this app. Should I decide not to use it, I will delete it. Should I decide to, yes, I want this app, many of them are using, I will continue to use it because it provides me safety and security. That is a very simple statement. Where is the question of unless had it been pre-installed or post-installed and it will never be deleted, then you could have said this kind of a statement. But when it is there for you to delete or keep at your discretion, then what is the concern?
Okay.
I don't understand.
I want to request both Zafar Islam and Nasir Hussain to kindly stay on with us. I'm going to go to the second topic, and it's day 2 of the Parliament's winter session. And today, seemingly, a breakthrough was arrived at in the Parliament logjam that has been sort of plaguing the House for the last couple of days. There was an all-party meeting today called by the Lok Sabha Speaker, Om Birla. There was ruckus and sloganeering and multiple adjournments since the start of the winter session. The government has now agreed to the opposition's demand of a debate on S.I.R. So on the 9th and the 10th of December, that's Tuesday and Wednesday next week, there will be a discussion on larger electoral reforms to be held. It's going to happen both in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha on Tuesday and Wednesday. 10 hours each have been allocated for these two debates. Law Minister Arjun Ram Meghwal will reply to the debate on the election reforms. Also on Monday, there will be a debate that the government has initiated on the Vande Mataram controversy and whether or not parliamentarians are allowed to say Vande Mataram in the House. Now, this logjam basically began 3 days ago during the Centre's all-party meeting when the opposition first demanded a full discussion on S.I.R. Otherwise, they will not allow Parliament to function. Remember, the previous monsoon session was almost entirely washed out because of the S.I.R. issue. The government, while ready for a debate, requested time to consult all party leaders, all floor leaders of all parties, both in the NDA and in the India Alliance. The very next day, which was the first day of the winter session, the opposition doubled down on its demand and sought an immediate discussion under Rule 267, which requires setting aside all other business and discussing matters of urgent importance. Now, the government reiterated that it's willing to have the debate. In fact, the minister, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, Mr. Rijiju, even yesterday said on the floor of the House that we are willing to have a debate on electoral reforms, but the opposition cannot be dictating the timeline, when and how and where it should happen. Today as well, both houses witnessed frequent disruptions and adjournments, and finally, the government had to concede to the S.I.R. debate. The government has now allocated 10 hours for debate on electoral reforms, first in the Lok Sabha on Tuesday next, and then in the Rajya Sabha on Wednesday. Let's listen in to some political reactions.
देश में पूरा चुनाव प्रक्रिया को आगे बढ़ाने में इलेक्शन कमीशन अपना भूमिका को अच्छी तरह से निभाती है, लेकिन उसका एक रूल्स रेगुलेशन है जो पार्लियामेंट ने ही बनाया है। पीपुल्स रिप्रेजेंटेशन एक्ट है, वो भी पार्लियामेंट ने ही पारित किया है। तो जो बड़ा इलेक्शन रिफॉर्म्स का विषय होता है वो पार्लियामेंट को ही चर्चा करना होता है। जहाँ तक एसआईआर का है, वो इलेक्शन रिफॉर्म्स का जब चर्चा होगी तो एसआईआर का मुद्दा भी वो उठा सकते हैं। एसआईआर जो है बेसिकली एक जो चुनाव आयोग का एक एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव डिसीजन है, एक प्रशासनिक व्यवस्था है जो उन्होंने किया है।
So after 2 days of pandemonium, finally the winter session of Parliament could see some work. There was a breakthrough that was achieved in the second half of the day after a meeting called by Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju confirmed that a discussion on electoral reforms have been agreed upon, a 10-hour discussion in Lok Sabha which could be extended further, and before that a discussion on Vande Mataram as its centenary is being celebrated. So how was this impasse broken? Because we had seen the opposition up in arms on the S.I.R. issue in monsoon session as well, and even this morning there was protest at the Makar. So we are told that the impasse was broken when both sides decided to dial down their rhetoric. Opposition was insisting on a discussion on S.I.R. The government's position was that S.I.R. was an administrative decision by an autonomous body, the Election Commission, and therefore no discussion could happen on that. There was nobody in the government who had the power to respond to the S.I.R. issue. But ultimately, both sides agreed upon that a broader discussion on electoral reforms can take place. Within electoral reforms, the opposition side can raise its issue of BLO deaths, of S.I.R., the manner in which it is unfolding. On the government side, they're going to cite Bihar polls in a major way to defend S.I.R. All the misgivings of the opposition have been nullified, is the government's claim, supported by the Election Commission data as well. Not a single repoll ordered in Bihar. There were no mass protests as well. Nobody took to the ground, nobody took to the streets of Bihar protesting that S.I.R. was an act of exclusion. And this misgiving that people will be wrongly disenfranchised, even that has proved to be incorrect as far as Bihar is concerned.
So I want to go back to Nasir Hussain of the Congress and Zafar Islam of the BJP. Nasir Saab, the entire monsoon session of Parliament was washed out on this S.I.R. issue. You went to the people of Bihar, you said it's a huge issue, it's the biggest issue. You went to the people of Bihar and ultimately what happened? They voted the NDA back in power with a huge majority. Congress party is reduced to its worst performance, just 6 seats. RJD is down to 25 seats. I mean, maybe you picked the wrong issue and now today again this winter session, first 2 days have been washed out because you want a discussion on S.I.R.
Zaka, that's exactly what we were saying just before the Bihar election. We knew what happened in Haryana, 25 lakh voters were deleted. We knew what happened in Maharashtra, around 55 to 60 lakh voters were added. We knew what was happening, what was going to happen in Bihar. 65 lakh voters were deleted all of a sudden. So the whole issue is, now they have finished misusing IT, ED and CBA. You know what happened in the last 10 years with IT, ED and CBA. Now they have started making use of election commission. So forget of our allegations. There are so many allegations in S.I.R. First of all, the election commission cannot have a country-wide S.I.R. at all. According to 21(3) of ROPA, they can only have S.I.R. in part of one constituency or one constituency. It cannot go beyond that. There are many technical and legal issues involved in this entire exercise. They cannot decide on citizenship issue. They cannot issue on refugees issue. There are so many issues which election commission is overstepping. But the whole point is, forget about all the allegations by the opposition parties against election commission or the entire process. Don't you think when there are accusations, when there are anomalies, when there are issues with the entire electioneering system, post 75 years of our parliamentary democracy, we need to revisit our electoral procedures and processes. We need to see the concerns that have been raised not only by the common citizens but also by political parties which have been in power, which are out of power also. Let us have a free and fair discussion.
Okay.
The government say nobody can discuss election commission, but the people in the government, the party in the government, their representatives on television channels, outside the parliament, they defend the election commission. So you come and defend in the parliament. Let us have a fair discussion on that. Why were you running away from it?
You didn't allow the S.I.R. discussion. Entire monsoon session got washed out. Now opposition is claiming that as many as 41 BLOs have committed suicide or died because of the increased workload, and therefore you're forced to concede to the opposition's demand to discuss S.I.R. Zafar Islam.
Well, Zaka, you have to understand their intent. The opposition bench, actually, they have demonstrated time and again that they do not want discussion or debate on the floor of the parliament. They just want one thing, disrupt the parliament, and as soon as they see the camera, they are not interested in work, they are interested in camera. The moment they see camera, they start their drama and show that they are protesting on something or the other. Actually, it is only for the optics purpose, nothing else. They know exactly that S.I.R. exercise is important for cleaning up the voter list to ensure that only the bona fide voters are part of the list, and people who have died, to people who have migrated, people are no longer living in that particular area or the city, their name should be removed from
So
there.
why didn't you agree to having a debate earlier? Why did you have to wait for a session in 3 days to agree to a debate?
No, actually, what you have seen, do a back testing and you will realize that whatever gets discussed and agreed in the Business Advisory Committee, there is a meeting of minds that this particular topic will be discussed and the time is allocated, but once they are on the floor of the parliament, they will start disrupting it. So they are not interested in discussion. But let me tell you one thing very important. Now they have agreed, they will be exposed. They will regret of discussing this issue because we will really expose them, and Congress will have no face and no leg to stand after this discussion and debate on this electoral reform.
You know, if S.I.R. was such a big issue, why didn't it resonate with the people of Bihar? We had shown on the day of the Bihar results in over 100 constituencies where S.I.R. was seemingly an important issue. The Congress and its allies got wiped out. Congress party ended up with just 6 seats.
Zaka, you are again and again saying the same thing. The whole point is we said 65 lakh voters have been deleted. Who are these voters? What are their backgrounds? To whom did they belong to? Whom do you think they would have voted had the names been there on the electoral rolls? That is exactly what we are saying. These are selective deletions from the electoral rolls. These are selective deletion, targeted deletions. That was our fear, and that is what actually has come true. Forget about that thing. The BJP spokesperson was saying something about discussions in the parliament. We run away from the discussion. Who ran away from the discussion on Manipur? Who ran away from the discussion on farm laws? Who ran away from the discussion on labor codes? Who ran away from a discussion on various issues which were raised in the past post 2014? Please do a research from your channel, and in next debate tomorrow, day after tomorrow, let us sit and find out how many issues of the opposition, how many issues that the opposition has raised have been accommodated.
It's not the opposition that's running away. It's the government. It's the government that is running away. That's what Nasser Hussain is claiming.
And they could have accepted for this. And he was just 1 second, Zaka, 1 second. Zaka, 1 second, Zaka, 1 second. He was speaking about business advisory committee. Rijiju in business advisory committee had given a word to all opposition parties that he will come back to the opposition parties on Monday morning, and he will declare the timing of the debate on Monday morning. So that's why I said that you came back to parliament and you are not announcing the date. Today they announced the date. From tomorrow parliament will function.
Okay. Zafar Islam, you are running away, not the opposition.
Actually, you can dig those reports, what I'm trying to tell you and convey to the people of this country who's watching this television at this point in time, that whenever we have agreed for some debate, there is a meeting of minds in the Business Advisory Committee. They discuss, they have spoken, and then when either the Prime Minister is speaking or the Home Minister is speaking, they will boycott and sit outside. We have seen many times. They are not interested. They just want to disrupt the parliament or boycott the parliament. Had they been interested in discussion about Manipur, then why did they walk out? Tell me, why did they walk out if they were really interested in debate and discussion on Manipur? You know that the fact that they had walked out. They didn't show any interest in the debate and discussion on Manipur. So what I'm trying to tell you that you have to understand their intent. Their intent is not to let the discussion or debate take place. Their intent is not to let the bill gets passed. Their intent is let the people of India suffer. Let the taxpayers' money be wasted. I mean, how that can happen? A handful of people will disrupt the parliament. No, debate will take place. Discussion will take place, and we will pass the bill.
Hopefully, we'll have a meaningful discussion on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in Parliament. But thank you very much in the meanwhile, Zafar Islam and Nasser Hussain, for joining us. We'll see how this plays out for the rest of the winter session of Parliament. I want to now move on quickly to the K-drama that is happening in Congress and its Karnataka unit between the Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister. Today was breakfast meeting 2.0. Today it was the turn of the Chief Minister to go to the Deputy Chief Minister's house. So Mr. Siddaramaiah went to Mr. D.K. Shivkumar's residence for the second round of this breakfast meeting. They've given a unity message saying that they will work together under the Congress's vision for good governance and development. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah said that politics is not permanent. Whatever happens, let it happen. But despite these assurances of cohesion, much of it now really depends on the Congress High Command, which continues to insist that all is well within the Karnataka unit. All eyes now remain on the High Command to ensure unity and smooth functioning. In fact, there's going to be a meeting of all party MPs on the 8th, which is Monday, and both the Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister are hoping that they too will get to meet the High Command on that day and hopefully resolve all issues, all outstanding issues at that time.
It was decided that we should call a meeting of the MPs on 8th of December. We shall, both of us, should listen to the whatever decision taken by the High Command. Whether it is mostly Rahul ji and Sonia ji and Karge ji. Tomorrow I am meeting Venugopal in a function where both of us are invited.
ಯಾವಾಗ ಸಿಎಂ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್? ಡಿ.ಕೆ. ಶಿವಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವರು ಯಾವಾಗ ಸಿಎಂ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ?
ಹೈಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಹೇಳೋದಲ್ಲ.
ಶಿವಕುಮಾರ್ ಯಾವಾಗ ಸಿಎಂ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್? ಡಿ.ಕೆ. ಶಿವಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವರು ಯಾವಾಗ ಸಿಎಂ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ?
ಹೈಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಹೇಳೋದಲ್ಲ.
Meanwhile, tensions have flared in Pakistan since last week amid rumors that former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan was tortured, and there were rumors that he was dead inside the Adiala jail, where he's been languishing for over 2 years now amidst corruption and terrorism charges. The rumors coincided with Imran Khan's family members being denied access to meet him for the last 3 weeks, despite court orders. Today, finally, his sister Uzma Khan was permitted to meet Imran Khan inside the Adiala jail. It's a high-security prison in Rawalpindi, a short distance away from the general headquarters of the Pakistan Army. The meeting between the former Prime Minister and his sister lasted anywhere between 25 to 35 minutes. Sources tell CNN News 18 that according to Imran Khan's family members, he appeared fit and fine and in high spirits, but the PTI has also put out a statement where Imran Khan has clearly said that if anything happens to him, then the person responsible for it is Asim Munir. Uzma Khan, after meeting with Imran Khan, brought out the message of PTI workers to the entire country, and this is what Imran Khan had to say, and I quote, "The military establishment has done all that they could against me. All that is left for them is now to murder me." Imran Khan has alleged that he's being held in conditions similar to an inmate who's on the death row, and claimed that the military leadership and Asim Munir would be responsible if anything happened to him. In his statement, the former Pakistan Prime Minister also described the conditions that he's living in as inhumane. He said that he was tortured by being confined in a cage and treated worse than animals. Electricity to his cell was shut off for 5 days. He was confined to the cell for 10 days. He added that Asim Munir is the most tyrannical dictator in the history of Pakistan and he is mentally unstable.
सेहत अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह ठीक है, मगर जरूरी वो उन्होंने बड़े गुस्से में थे, कहते हैं कि हमें ये मेंटल टॉर्चर कर रहे हैं और सारा दिन कमरे में बंद, थोड़ा सा बाहर निकल सकते हैं, कोई किसी से कम्युनिकेशन नहीं, कहते हैं ये आसिम मुनीर जिम्मेदार है.
Russian President Vladimir Putin is expected to touch down in Delhi on Thursday afternoon. It is his first visit to India since the Ukraine war began more than 3 years ago. He will have bilateral engagements with Prime Minister Modi. Among the various deals expected to be sealed are more S-400 missile defense batteries for India, possibly even S-500 state-of-the-art missile defense systems. Also in conversation will be the sale and the transfer of technology around the Sukhoi 57 fifth-generation fighter jet. But it all comes at a time when US President Donald Trump is squeezing India for buying Russian oil. So, what can one expect?
So, Su-57s, best plane in the world. And the issue of Su-57s certainly will be on the agenda during the coming visit. Tariffs between India and the United States is rather a question of bilateral relations between India and the United States. What concerns us is the way we're going to continue and enlarge the volume of our bilateral business with India, not letting anyone interfere in that. And this will be definitely discussed. Well, we strongly condemn terrorism, whatever form of this terrorism and whatever source of this terrorism is. And we know that India has faced this threat numerous times, and we stay together with people of India, and we do condemn terrorism.
India and Russia enjoy an enduring defense partnership. Both sides have been looking to boost this cooperation during Vladimir Putin's visit. A possible deal on the S-500, which is the more advanced version of the S-400, is on the cards. The S-500, let's tell you everything about this arguably most advanced missile defense system anywhere in the world. It has the ability to track targets across a vast space of anywhere upwards of 500 kilometers, 500 to 600 kilometer range, reaching altitudes of up to 200 kilometers, which is by far a much bigger upgrade to the existing S-400, which is already part of India's arsenal. It is by far the best missile defense system that is there in the market currently. The S-500 is engineered to detect and track everything, just like the S-400 does, whether it is drones, aircraft, cruise missiles, projectiles, you name it. anything from even a distance of upwards of 500 kilometers can be tracked by the S-500. This one can also track even ballistic missiles and even hypersonic threats. The S-400 cannot track the hypersonic threats. There's also a standard unit which typically fields about 12 transporter and erector launchers, allowing rapid and coordinated missile deployment. The system is designed to detect and simultaneously engage up to 10 ballistic missiles or even hypersonic targets. It uses two next-generation interceptor missiles, the 77N6N and the 77N6N1, which employ a hit-to-kill mechanism, meaning that they are designed to destroy incoming targets by direct impact. In 2023, the estimated cost of a single system of the S-400 at that time stood at $2.5 billion. India had placed the order for 5 S-400 systems, of which 3 have been delivered so far. 2 more are expected to be delivered sometime next year. So it's not just the missile defense systems. Another big-ticket defense deal that could be signed during this visit is that of the 5th-generation fighter jet, the Sukhoi 57. The Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov confirmed that the Sukhoi 57 will definitely be on the agenda. The other 5th-generation stealth jet that is in the market right now is the F-35, the Lockheed Martin US-manufactured F-35, which is a rival to the Su-57. While the US may want India to buy the F-35, particularly Trump, he's made no bones about that fact, the Russian offer raises the stakes. How do these two 5th-generation fighter jets stack against each other? The F-35, a 5th-generation single-engine fighter, is produced by Lockheed Martin Corporation, while the Sukhoi is produced by Russia with the United Aircraft Corporation. The Sukhoi 57 is Russia's twin-engine 5th-generation fighter. It brings 3D thrust vectoring to the table, which the F-35 does not have. The American F-35 tops out at Mach 1.6, which is 1.5 times the speed of sound, and it carries a ferry range of a little over 1,600 kilometers. The Sukhoi 57, on the other hand, can go up to Mach 2, which is twice the speed of sound, and it offers a massive ferry kilometer range of 3,500 kilometers, so which means even targets in China can be targeted beyond visual range, BVR. The combat radius of the F-35 is shorter compared to the Sukhoi 57, which offers a combat range of close to 2,000 kilometers. And the pricing, this is where there is a significant cost factor difference. The F-35, it comes at a much more premium cost at over $100 million per fighter jet, whereas the Sukhoi 57 costs anywhere between $35 to $40 million. So it's a good 40-50% cheaper than the F-35, which makes the overall operability and maintenance costs much lower for the Russian jet. The F-35, though, has been in operation for longer, since 2015, so for the last 10 years. The Su-57 entered the service 5 years later in 2020. So far, Lockheed Martin has built around 100 units of the F-35, while only about 30 units of the Su-57 had been built until 2023. So what can India expect when President Vladimir Putin comes visiting later this week? It's the first time that he's traveling since the Russia-Ukraine war began. I want to go across to a very special guest who's joining us now on CNN News 18, Professor Jeffrey Sachs, Professor of Economics at the Columbia University. I want to start with this whole Russia-Ukraine situation before we come to the Putin visit. There are talks that are happening this week. Steve Witkoff is there. How and where do you think this story is moving? Do you see eventually this war is going to be brought to some kind of a culmination? There's going to be a ceasefire? And will Witkoff and Jared Kushner, who are in Russia this week, be able to get Putin and convince Putin to end this war?
The key to this war is for the Western countries, meaning the NATO alliance, to stop its intent to expand to Ukraine. And this seems now to be the position of the United States government. The European governments are objecting to such a position. Ukraine is objecting to such a position. They are claiming that NATO should expand to Ukraine, but that is what caused this war in the first place. So at the core of all of this war was a absolutely provocative attempt by the United States to move its military alliance up to Russia's border. Trump seems to be saying that the U.S. will stop that. when he hears the objections from Europe and Ukraine, it's his job to say that the United States, which leads this military alliance, will not support the approach that the U.S. pushed for so long. Now, that is called in these military circles giving in to Russia. But it is not. What it is recognizing that the whole idea of NATO, which was a defense against the Soviet Union, which no longer exists, pushing all the way to Russia's borders was a terrible idea. It was set in motion almost 30 years ago, and it never should have happened. So on this, what the Trump administration seems to be saying is correct. Now, one also has to say that the way that diplomacy is done these days, without any explanation to the U.S. public or to the European public, any truth, any bringing in basic principles, this isn't done. This is all backroom negotiations, which I think is not the way that the world should operate. So I don't like the process, but I do think that the core idea of the Trump administration seems to be correct if we can judge from what is being leaked and spun in the media.
So later this week, President Vladimir Putin of Russia is going to be here in India. It's his first visit to India since the Russia-Ukraine war began. India has skin in this game to try and get this war to move towards some kind of a culmination, if not a ceasefire. Trump has imposed these oil tariffs on India, 25%. India is the only country that has these Russian oil tariffs for import of Russian oil. What do you think will be the sort of nature of conversations between Mr. Modi and Mr. Putin later this week?
Well, I think President Putin is going to explain Russia's position, which is that Ukraine must be a neutral country, that NATO enlargement must stop, that regions that Russia has annexed are going to remain with Russia. That also has a long background to it, which would take us too far afield. But Russia made those territorial claims only after the West failed to honor a treaty in 2015 that would have left those regions in Ukraine, but with political autonomy. So President Putin is going to explain the position. I think the position is broadly sensible, and I think that this will be understandable to India's leadership. I don't agree with the United States being able to impose unilateral sanctions on India or anyone else. To my mind, the U.S. has no right to say to India, you can't buy oil from Russia. Who is the United States to say that? If the United States wants to have such restrictions, it needs to go to the United Nations. That's the only place under international law where such sanctions are permitted. So I would hope on general principles in any event that India's leadership would say to the United States, you cannot impose unilateral sanctions on us. They have no standing in international law.
So the paradox and the real conundrum here, Professor Sachs, is that Donald Trump has linked this second set of tariffs, the 25% tariffs, explicitly on the import of Russian oil. And in fact, some Indian oil companies have come out and said that they will reduce the import of Russian oil. But again, there is no guarantee that Trump will take off these tariffs, even if India were to progressively reduce its buying of Russian oil. So how does India navigate this conundrum?
First of all, Trump's tariffs in general, in my opinion, are illegal under U.S. law, meaning that he doesn't have the authority to do what he is doing. Now, this is an issue before the U.S. Supreme Court, so it may be in short order that the Supreme Court says that all of these executive orders by Trump are null and void because they exceed the president's legal authority. I hope that the Supreme Court says that, because I don't like a political system in which one person sets the international trade terms. That seems to me to be unconstitutional in our system. So that's one issue. Second, I think a country at the size and importance of India, after all, the world's largest country, should say to the United States, no, you cannot put unilateral sanctions on us. Of course, that may make some people in India uncomfortable, but this should be a common position of the BRICS countries to begin with. Because the idea that the United States tells India what to do vis-a-vis Russia is wrong. The idea that it's putting on tariffs because of India's purchase of Russian oil is plainly illegal from an international law point of view. And I think India should say so, frankly. I don't believe just to say, yes, Mr. President, whatever you say, which is sometimes the attitude that much smaller countries take. But India is a global superpower. It should be able to say, frankly, to the United States, you can't do that.
So some have also argued that the reason why Trump has imposed these sanctions is because of a personal pike that Trump has had.
Spot you, let alone catch you, and grow your audience's insight. Because stocks may go up or down, but knowledge is invaluable. Go, assemble the A-team, the ones who reach the top, and then keep going. Go into uncharted
territory. That's really the reason that this is at such a personalistic level. But if there was any truth to that at all, it's all the more reason for India to say, stop it. This isn't about the personal pique of a U.S. president vis-a-vis an Indian prime minister, for heaven's sake. We're talking about two of the largest economies in the whole world, and they should respect each other, period. And India is nearly 5 times the population of the United States. And so India should say, please, let's have international law. Let's not do things on the basis of pique or on the basis of extraterritorial sanctions that have no international legal basis. Let's do things properly under the rules of the World Trade Organization.
You know, over the last 25 years, whether a Democrat was in the White House or a Republican was in the White House, there was a bipartisan consensus in the United States, in the U.S. political system, that India was the one country that needs to be close to America because it is a counterweight to China. Clearly, Trump doesn't believe in that. He's got a deal with Xi Jinping. He would love to cut a deal with Putin. How does India navigate this space?
Well, I always said to Indian friends and Indian leaders, don't believe that the United States is really playing that game or that this is really India's ticket to success. I was very, very clear that this is a very naive approach. India should not, quote, let itself be a counterweight to China. That's absurd. India needs good relations with China, too, by the way. India and China are the 2 most populous countries in the world. They have a border that still needs to be resolved, but they have very, very important bilateral relations. And the United States should never be allowed by India's leaders to play India against China. And India should not play against China, by the way. India should have its own foreign policy, very clearly. But I have to say, I made this point for years. Don't trust the United States on this. Don't think that India is going to be the great replacement of China and American supply chains and so forth. That's absurd. And I was shown to be right, I have to say. I don't say that out of pride. I just say that it was completely evident that India needs its own foreign policy and not to be played by anybody. India is a superpower. It's the world's most populous country. It shouldn't side with one country to be played against another country, for heaven's sake.
So I want to come back finally to where we started, and that is the visit of Vladimir Putin. It's the first time that he's coming to India since this war began. India has been a strategic partner both to Russia and to the United States for the last 2 decades plus. The relationship with Russia has been very, very important, both on the defense side as well as now increasingly on the energy trade side. Does India sort of continue to have its legs in both of these boats and move forward like it has for the last many years? Or at some point, do you reckon that Trump will tell India you have to choose one over the other, or India will be forced to choose one over the other?
Well, look, the U.S. isn't choosing. The U.S. is trying to make business with Russia. So how can the U.S. say, India, you don't make business with Russia? Come on. There's a limit to American hypocrisy, and it should be understood. So if President Trump is openly courting President Putin for all sorts of commercial deals, who is he to tell India not to have commercial relations with Russia? The whole idea is absurd. And we should move beyond absurdity. This world is not going to survive if we behave absurdly. The point is that India needs its own foreign policy. It's not in the pocket of the United States. It doesn't have to listen to these kind of bizarre, hypocritical claims of the United States. It doesn't have to watch the United States try to make commercial deals with Russia and then be told you can't do that in the case of India. Come on. This is India's a superpower. It should act like one. That means being responsible, but it means saying to the United States, we want to have good, mutually respectful relations with you. And to Russia, we want to have good, mutually respectful relations with you. And to China, the same way, because that is what is going to serve India's interests, to have good relations with the U.S., with Russia, with China, and it's going to serve the world's interests, because superpowers should not play games with each other. They should be aiming for stable, responsible, mutually respectful relations. And India has a fantastic foreign minister, and it has an absolutely clear set of interests, and it should be very respectfully defending those and not being told what to do by other countries.
All right, Professor Jeffrey Sachs, it's always a pleasure speaking with you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us here on CNN News 18. Thank you.
सैल्यूट है जी, आप देश की रक्षा में जान लगा देते हैं और आप घर घर में तार लगाते हैं जी। ई बीम टेक्नोलॉजी से बनी, न जले न पिघले, सबकी रक्षा करे।
हम सरहद पर लोगों की रक्षा करते हैं और आप देश के अंदर। सैल्यूट तो बनता है जी।
अपार अणुशक्ति फायर प्रोटेक्ट वायर, अपार देश का तार।
Fenesta Windows, beautiful and durable designs, इंस्टॉलेशन से मेंटेनेंस की लाइफ लॉन्ग कस्टमर सर्विस। आपके घर में फिनेस्टा नहीं है तो कॉल कीजिए।
Find Finer Fenesta. The all-new Hyundai Venue, take up, go beyond.
Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narasimhan. In a move that could reshape Bharat's mobile security landscape, the Ministry of Communications has directed major smartphone manufacturers, including Apple, Samsung, Xiaomi, Vivo, and Oppo, to pre-install the government-owned cybersecurity app Sanchar Saathi on all new devices sold in the country. Now, the pre-installation of Sanchar Saathi app is mandatory for smartphone manufacturers. All phone makers and importers have been given 90 days to comply. Let's now try and break down the 10 facts for our viewers here on the Sanchar Saathi app. The first fact, it updates the consumer, the person, the owner of the phone on telecom safety and information security. Second, it helps users block a lost or stolen phone. Fact 3, it safeguards users against telecom fraud. Fact 4, users are free to delete this app. Users can report financial scams. Number 6, the app can't listen to users' calls. Number 7, the app cannot reach users' personal data. Number 8, users can report international calls with Indian numbers. Number 9, they can track multiple SIM connections under a single user. And 10, it stops duplication of the 15-digit IMEI code. So basically, it does not listen to what you're doing. It does not track what you're doing. It does not even read your personal data. It just ensures that this instrument that you have in your hand, A, cannot be mirrored, B, it cannot be used for fraud. Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narasimhan. In a move that could reshape Bharat's mobile security landscape, the Ministry of Communications has directed major smartphone manufacturers, including Apple, Samsung, Xiaomi, Vivo, and Oppo, to pre-install the government-owned cybersecurity app Sanchar Saathi on all new devices sold in the country. Now, the pre-installation of Sanchar Saathi app is mandatory for smartphone manufacturers. All phone makers and importers have been given 90 days to comply. Let's now try and break down the 10 facts for our viewers here on the Sanchar Saathi app. The first fact, it updates the consumer, the person, the owner of the phone on telecom safety and information security. Second, it helps users block a lost or stolen phone. Fact 3, it safeguards users against telecom fraud. Fact 4, users are free to delete this app. Users can report financial scams. Number 6, the app can't listen to users' calls. Number 7, the app cannot reach users' personal data. Number 8, users can report international calls with Indian numbers. Number 9, they can track multiple SIM connections under a single user. And 10, it stops duplication of the 15-digit IMEI code. So basically, it does not listen to what you're doing. It does not track what you're doing. It does not even read your personal data. It just ensures that this instrument that you have in your hand, A, cannot be mirrored, B, it cannot be used for fraud, C, if you have multiple SIM connections, it can track the same user. What is an IMEI code? It's the International Mobile Equipment Identity Number, IMEI number. It's there on the pack of every phone that you would buy. It would say IMEI. It is also there in your phone, and if you go into the settings and see about, it will give